going on, Arlen? Let's go,
Yeah.
Arlen. I'll be back.
Yeah. So basically for me, like Alfred said, I've known Alfred since day one. And I've always been the type to just help out, newly licensed agents and, or always willing to network and just mastermind and brainstorm with even the people that are doing way better than me. So I just wanted to learn. And with that said, is just keep being learning base, like just keep putting yourself into classrooms. There's no need to reinvent the wheel, right? There's always someone that's doing it, just doing bigger and better things than you. Go learn from them. Go learn as much as you can, come and apply it to your business, and then teach it. Don't hold on to it. There's no need to like, oh, I can teach you how I got 10 listens this month. That's limited mindset, of like, if I teach you, you're gonna take the business away from me. There's plenty to go around, yesterday I took a class in social media, how the algorithms have changed and so forth. And I'm going to share all my notes, and I might actually even have the recording. I'll share it with Alfred so he can share it with all of you guys, since he has all of you guys' information. It's tweaking whatever it is that you're doing, just one little adjustment that can take you to over that wall, over the hump, the wall that you're breaking. So just learning, just constantly learning. Like I told Alfred, right now, what I'm noticing is I always like to study the market. For example, Alexander, if I was to tell you how many listens are in your market right now, you got to be able to say, hey, as of Monday, there was 175 listens in my market. Great. How many of those have been sitting in the market longer than 30 days? You know what I mean? Because this is stuff that we need to know, so that when we go, like Jonathan and Alfred did, go to a listing appointment, you are the expert. They're relying on our knowledge. And if our knowledge is not to the fullest, then what are we really bringing to the table to these people? They're trusting us with like their biggest asset, right? And so the best we can do is what we owe to them is be fully prepared for that. So how many listens are on the market in your market center? What's the average day on the market in your market center? How many of these homes are going into escrow? How many of these escrow homes are, like not going through? Because this tells you where the market is going. Like right now, I'll tell you right now, in my market center, I'm seeing a lot of price reductions already. And I'm seeing the inventory creeping up. So that tells me the market is just around the corner from doing some shifting. And if you're not prepared for that shifting, then you're going to overprice listings. Then your listings are going to be sitting in the market for a long time. And Alfred and I have this conversation from time to time, right? Alfred's like, hey, this is going on with this listing. What can I do? What should I do? And he's having those uncomfortable conversations. Last week I walked away from 2 listings because they want to overprice them. I'm giving them all the data and they still want to overprice it. And I said, I'm really sorry. I take pride in what I do. And I couldn't go and sell a Toyota Corolla at a Lamborghini's price because no one's gonna buy it.
Arlen, quick question, brother. I'm so sorry to interrupt you.
No,
It's interesting that you say that, because this is what I've been kind of noticing. A lot of the listings when I go online just to browse or to look for something for my client, I've noticed that a lot of people are discounting their listings.
Yes.
And even my own client, he's like, hey, I know now. Like we were in Big Bear. He said, I know now that the market, he used the word saturated. Yeah. And I did tell him, I don't know if it's saturated, but definitely more listings are coming on the market. But my question is, what do you say to a client when he says, hey, I still want to price my property at a certain price because it's worth it, it's remodeled, it's nice, whatever he thinks. But that in that market, that price is not justified.
Okay, so I'll address it in a sense of like, Mr. Hurtado, the fact that the fact is that your home is going to be worth what a buyer is willing to pay for it. It's not you, it's not me. It's ultimately not even the appraiser that's going to dictate the price. It's what a buyer is willing to pay. Now, I know you've done an amazing thing in remodeling your home. I love it. I personally will give you even more than what you're asking for because it's my taste. However, your taste, my taste, doesn't mean that it's going to be the buyer's taste. Whoever comes and buy this home, I love it just for the location, and it's going to redo everything you've done into your home. So let's keep that in mind, that what we think this is what we have, this is what the way someone else can see it, or vice versa. We might think we have a fixer up, and all of a sudden it's someone's dream home, and they overpay you for it. And then I would go with, you know, the follow-up question would be like, how soon do you want this home sold?
So you kind of always obviously give them information, and then you let them know that at the end of the day, no matter what the property does or does not have, somebody else is going to do something else to it.
Correct. Yeah. And that's also, you know, like for my listings, you know, like what you know, what do you think I should do? You know, I learned in my career that telling people, oh, do this, do this, do this. It actually backfires because then like, well, you have me do all this work and my property still sitting in the market. So you gotta know the market. The market will tell you if it's time for you to put some money into your home, or you're better off just listing it at a lower price and let it be the new listing that everybody wants to see because you priced it correctly.
And final question, Arlen, would you say that when you price a property, I don't want to say cheap, but let's say competitive, you know, not a lower price, does that property tend to sell quicker? And do you notice buyers still asking for closing credit or you know, incentives from the seller?
Correct. So that would go depending on what the seller's motivation is, right? There's people that want to be out of the home yesterday. And there's people like, well, I just want to test the market. I just want to see where it goes. If I don't get my price, I'm not selling it. You know,
right?
So you got to know who you're dealing with, and once you have that ground set, then basically you go with the you know, look, this is what we can do. If you want to price your home above what all the comps are, your home is going to sit in the market for at least 90 days. That means at least 3 more mortgage payments that you hear. Is that okay with you? You know, that's gonna hold you back 90 days from where you want to be. So you know, there's a quadrant, right? There's the present pleasure, future pain, future pleasure, and then you bring them back to, you know, present pain, and then you bring them back to the present. Because what you want to do is you want to focus on the next step. Like, you know, one of my agents here had a listing, right? So I sat down with her yesterday because they overpriced the listing, and the seller is just focused on a certain price on his current home right now. The thing is, he already has in mind what the replacement property is going to be, which is bigger, better, greater location. So I said, why don't you focus on that instead of this? So you gotta take them away from focusing on the money here, and discover that you're holding your family from being in a better, bigger home, location-wise and everything, because you're focused on the money here. So how much is that cost you? What's you know, how your family is already checked out of this home. You're checked out of this home. You just keep on seeing the dollar sign, right? So then I told her, I said, have this conversation with her about, you know, the future home. And on top of that, you know, going into this new home, the wife is going to go back into the first place, you know, workplace. So what does that mean? Additional income. So you're so focused on pennies here that you're keeping yourself away from this. She had the conversation with the yesterday. They reduced the price and they put it under market value. Because now, hey, let me take you away from here. Let me put you here for a second, because this is where you want to be, right? Yeah, this is where you want to be with family, right? This is what's going to benefit you long term because your wife is going back to work, correct? Yes. So why are we worried about the money here? And they reduced the price, and surprisingly, she called me all happy. Oh my God, you know, we're $10,000 under all the properties in the area. I said, okay, great. Now go market and get it sold.
Okay. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So
Well,
yeah, so you gotta help people self-discover what they want to do. And the best thing we can do is one of the things that I do. I'm grateful for you know, George Izquierdo Las Casas, you know, is his wisdom, right? Because he always told me, he goes, Arlen, salespeople have 1 mile in 2 years for a reason. You talk a little bit and you listen more. So ask the questions, and as you're asking the questions, they're gonna give you the answer that's gonna lead to the next question, that's gonna go, and so on. And then next thing you know, they're the ones telling you, you're right. I should listen for this price. I should do this. I should do that. Let's get it going. You know, when you can control the conversation to where you want it to go by speaking less and listening more, it's, you know, you discover how to be a great salesperson.
Damn, you just got some nuggets, Jonathan.
Yeah, good information, good nuggets, and because that's going to be, I think, something that in the next couple of weeks and months is going to be a little bit of an obstacle. Mm-hmm. Properties are going to be you know, going down in price a little bit, and I think we're going to have to start talking to these sellers and maybe educating them a little bit more. And I know sometimes even for myself, I have a little bit of a hard time wanting to say, yes, Mr. Seller, we have to discount it. because you're kind of in fear of losing that listing, right? And
Mhm.
sometimes agents, like Arlen said, I had to let go of 2 listings because they wanted to overprice it. I don't think anybody wants to let go of listings, but hey, if it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense.
Here's a nugget for you guys. So I just fired a seller yesterday in Jurupa. This seller came from a postcard that I did. Now I hear what you said, Jonathan, that you're scared to lose a listing. Okay, here's a nugget. If a seller is telling you, "Oh, I need you to list it at 1 million," and we know the property's worth 900,000, 800,000, say, "You know what, Mr. Seller, because I want to earn your business and I'm going to work hard to make sure I get your home sold. Why don't we do this? In our contract, we're going to put it for 1 million. But in the first 2 weeks, if I don't get that million, on additional terms, we're going to put, if we don't receive an offer in the first 2 weeks at 1 million, price reduced to 800,000. That way, it's already in the contract. And in 2 weeks, you already know, you got to get prepared. You already know you're not going to get that million. When that 2 weeks comes, you don't call the seller and have a price reduction conversation, because that's not going to go that very well. All you do is go in the MLS, price drop it to your price. And then if the seller calls you, you remind them, hey, remember what we said, and it's in writing. You told me that if I didn't get the price you wanted, we're going to put it at the price that I think that it should be priced. Right? Jonathan?
Yeah,
Does that answer your question?
It does. It does because yeah, if the property doesn't sell and then you drop the price later on, obviously the seller's going to get upset that he doesn't know about it. But I think it's very good to prepare him from the onset, especially if they're very adamant on having a higher price, which happens a lot.
You have to set the expectation.
Two of our associates did that, Alfred, a couple of weeks ago. They put that on the listing. If it doesn't sell, in 15 days, 2 weeks, we're gonna do a price reduction. And they just made that call and reminded them, hey, we need to do our price reduction is coming up in the next couple of days.
And hey, like Felix said, 2 people did it. I wouldn't even call that seller. I wouldn't. Screw that. Mm-hmm. It's okay if you want to, but I personally won't. Now, here's another thing. When I called her yesterday, I said, Amy, it's already been 3 weeks. Only 2 people been showing up. I think it's about time that we price reduce it to the price we had. Because she was asking me, we had an offer. She keeps asking, we have an offer. And I told her, like, hey, we got to put it at my, oh no, cancel the listing. I don't want to sell no more. Automatically, she got defensive. I said, well, you know what? Because she's been a pain in the butt. I just fired her. Hey, it's part of doing business. I spend $400 on photos. I'm sorry. It's a part of doing business. Yeah. But I guess what? She's not my headache anymore. I have another headache in Riverside where this gentleman, I told him since the beginning, we're overpriced. You had it with another agent. Same thing. Somebody broke into his property over the weekend, and then he calls me telling me that they broke in his property. It's $1 million property, and this guy doesn't even have brinks. People broke into his property. Now he's telling me no showings, no open houses, nothing. And I talked to Felix about it. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to let this expire. It's a 3-month contract. I'm going to let it expire. I don't need those headaches. There's people out there that need our help.
Yeah.
I'm not going to invest my energy in people that do not need my help. I'm going to move on.
And the problem, Alfred, too, and I'm sure you guys have all noticed this, that, people in that situation are the ones that will take more of your time.
Damn.
Because they're constantly calling you, they're constantly emailing you, and they expect, like, for you to answer the phone all the time or for you to call them right away. You're never available, well, it comes to a point where you don't want to take those calls.
Yeah, very true.
Honest. It comes to the point where you purposely send them to voicemail, where you purposely like, I'll call them tomorrow. Nah, so because you just don't want to deal with this. So, if you know that this is where you're going and this is where those 2 transactions are going to be going to, I'm like, I'd rather just not do it. I'd rather let them go through all of that with somebody else. And then I come back and be like, okay, are you ready?
Absolutely. Well said. Yeah. And there's a lot of that going to go on, guys. A lot of these things are going to be happening, I say, in the next few months. Once again, just get to work. Get to work, show up, train, listen, ask questions, ask other people from other offices what they're going through. I'm sure Arlen's the agencies with, they're going through the same things we're going through, right, Arlen?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. They're definitely going through that, and we're going through that. Because if you're used to closing a certain amount of escrows, and that has reduced, then we're all going through it. We're all feeling, the change of the market. Although I'll be honest with you, the minute I started recognizing, okay, a lot of new listings coming up, everything's just sitting there, a lot of price reduction. I'm like, okay, good, we're just around the corner.
And Arlen, real quick, how many market shifts have you been in? And I know you've probably been in as long as Felix has.
Yeah, I've been in the business for 20 years, fully licensed, and then I spent 2 years being a broker's assistant prior to that, which is kind of like I learned the business before I even got into it.
Beautiful. So anybody else has any questions or anything that's holding you back from making that phone call? Remember, there's expires out there. Robert and we follow this guy named Anthony Nucci. Super awesome, young, energetic guy. Reminds me of Jonathan. I'll send you guys his profile. This guy is a caller. He's a dialer. He's calling. He sells in 2 different states, Michigan and Florida, and he's closing. He's building a community because he's doing the hard calls. He's not doing the easy work. He's doing the hard calls. But of course, people sometimes always just show the outcome there. They don't show the process.
Sure.
I guarantee you, none of us here want to post something where people are telling us F off. Don't call me no more. I'm not interested. The economy is going to crash. I'm waiting for the election to end. There's a tornado coming. The aliens landed in Las Vegas. You're always going to be hearing something, and we're not going to post that. We're only going to post, hey, just close escrow. Hey, I'm over here with my family at Disneyland hanging out doing nothing. Right? But you got to remember, sometimes we're being tested. God is testing us right now. It's hard. Like Arlen told me yesterday, this market is going to weed out the people that shouldn't be here. So when the market is good, and like Arlen said, you tell that seller, hey, well, what has Johnny sold? And you look at Johnny didn't have any sales for 3 years. Now you're going to be like, oh, he's just only here when the market is good. He's not here during the hard market, during the time you need to be on the trenches, working on yourself, filing your skills, script and role playing, which is the most powerful thing in the world. Being an agent, learning how to handle every single objection, right? Don't be the jack of all trades, master of none. I don't want to see none of you guys selling solar. You're a real estate agent. Stick with one thing only. You don't need to.
And here's the funny thing, Alfred, because it's the solar and the life insurance right now that are a gig, right? A lot of realtors are, like being drawn into that. And the thing is, those are the realtors are always looking for the next shiny item that they can make quick money on. But guess what? What do those jobs require? They require for you to prospect, and that's the reason why they fell at it too. Because they're not prospecting in real estate, they're not prospecting for solar, they're not prospecting for life insurance. So they're back to square one.
Absolutely awesome, Robert. I see you wanted to unmute yourself. Can you share with us what's going on with your agents over there at Houster?
Yeah, so we have a few agents that are, consistently closing, some buyer agents that are consistently putting deals through the pipe. We have some agents who are starting out, they need a little bit of support, mindset. A lot of stuff we try to push is social media, right? One of the things that Arlen mentioned, that he just took a class on social media. I think it's important that you guys do your prospecting, your calls, expireds, put a few hours into it. But at the same time, social media is not complicated. Of course, it's going to take time to get it going. One of the things like what we do, for example, here is we make sure that we support agents by auto-scheduling content, right, on their social media. And we always tell them that that's the bare minimum, right? Auto-scheduling content, at least going one post a day. And that same content we have available for free for you guys, for anybody in the Real Closers community, where you can just go in and take it. Then we provide additional content, reels, videos, AI reels, content that agents can use to start promoting on their stories, start promoting on their feed. But ultimately, the goal with that process is to get agents consistent with, they need to set time aside once a week, Sunday night, schedule your content out. You could do this with, different tools available. You could do this with, Meta, Facebook allows you to auto schedule your content now. So you can do all that, set time aside, get consistent, continue to do everything else, set aside an hour or two once a week, push your social media, and then eventually start finding out what you could do. Like one of the things that you could do right now, and a few of our agents are doing it right now, especially those with no business, right? Because they're always complaining about, what should I post about that's going to make me unique and simple. Hey, you have access to a key. There are a bunch of houses that are vacant right now that you can go preview for your clients. When you're doing that, record yourself going into that house, talk about that property, learn, like Arlen said, learn your area, learn your market. Why would people move into that house? Not so much because of the house itself, but location. Schools nearby, shopping centers. Are you targeting people who are interested in, in the school district? Learn that area and market the area. Don't market the house, right? Market the area, market your location. And then of course, by the way, you can get into this location with this property for this much, right? And then start breaking down the process, how much, it costs to get into a house in that location, how much are you going to be mostly your monthly payments. And one of the things that I always like to tell people with social media is that when you're providing information like this consistently on social media, you're attacking your sphere of influence and you're creating a digital sphere of influence that are qualifying themselves over time. If you provide all this information over time, 6 months, and I've seen it happen many, many times, right? 3 to 6 months is when agents start to consistently get traffic. People asking questions. They may not be qualified. They may not be fully ready. Hey, but you're getting traction another way, which is social media, right? And I'm pretty sure, Arlen, some of this stuff you probably, this is what they've talked about. It's not rocket science. It's just what Alfred keeps saying, consistency. You just have to put in the work. It's not, real estate is not for people who they're just going to put in, 30 minutes a week and then you're going to start getting business. It takes time. I mean, I've been, nurturing a relationship. Finally, after 9 months, the lady wants me to put in an offer for her house. And now I'm going to find out if she's really serious about selling or not, because this is the cutoff time, right? For me, otherwise we move on to the next prospecting. And, we're doing expireds. So that's one of the things that we're doing. The team here, we're pushing social media a lot. We have a lot of agents asking questions about, the NAR settlement, right? They're getting scared a little bit about their buyers. We talked about that yesterday in our meeting as well. And we're trying to figure out how to put training together, and collaborate with other brokers and other agents to really find out, different ways to attack this issue, right? Give agents confidence that, like Alfred said, don't focus on the negative, but what else can you do to last? So we're doing different things, man. It's just crazy times. And we had an interview with an agent the last week where he told us that, at the very beginning, like in 2002, I think 2002 is when, before, the MLS wasn't available to just regular people, right? If you wanted information on homes, you had to go through an agent, and then that changed, and then that was another way, right? And then COVID was another one. 2008, 2009 was another one, and it's just waves, right? You just have to learn how to write them. You need to be in communities like this, because I think it's where you can learn a lot. Like what Arlen said today, man, that was like, I'm gonna take that piece probably and start, just repeating it to everybody else, because it was gold, right? How to deal with those objections, how to deal with sellers not wanting to list for what they should be listing, right? So team is doing okay. We have a few agents that are closing deals consistently. We have a few agents that are starting out. We have a few agents that, unfortunately, they're kind of taking a step back. They are trying to pay their bills, so they did get, they're getting on the job. But one of the things that we recommend, even if you're starting out, work on your social media. It's just the next thing that's gonna get you business, right? Continue to do everything else, but do not forget this social media, because it's going to take time. It's going to take a good 3 to 6 months of you consistently doing it before it starts to work for you. So if you continue to wait you continue to push that another 3 months, another 6 months, another 12 months, well, it's going to take you another 6 months on top of that to get any traction on that. And you don't have to be, a superstar. Of course, if you are, you're going to get a lot more business. But if you do the bare minimum, at least get consistent, understand the algorithm, understand the likes, understand the comments, understand the interactions, and then continue to push forward into the next step, which is what I said, right? Learn your market and market that with your in it, right? You're yourself.
Absolutely, Robert. As a matter of fact, the study shows that 89% of humans all go to social media for quite some time on a daily basis. I can almost guarantee that every single person in this chat room right now already went to social media for today. You know what I mean?
And
So
I've been on it since 3 o'clock.
yeah. So with that in mind, know how much time you're spending on it, but what time are you spending on it? You know what I mean? That's the difference. Like, you could put yourself into all the classrooms, all this, all that, and all you become is a professional student if you don't come and implement what you're learning. At the end of the day, that let's just call it what it is, right? And I know some of those agents, and I have that hard conversation with them. Be like, I'm really sorry, but you're a professional student. One of them got upset, and I said, I understand. You have to work through your emotions on your own, but I'm just telling you the truth. You're going to every single class, but every time I call you, if you prospect, you're not prospecting. So you're not implementing what you're doing, and this is it's already hurt you, and it's gonna hurt you even more. So just start implementing these things, right? So just social media is big. That doesn't mean that content expires and all that stuff doesn't work. That works. You just have to spend the time, making those reels, making those stories. And one of the best things, Robert, that like you said, is basically the content wise, tell people, be you. Be you 100%. We have an agent here that turned her business around. She's getting leads on a daily basis of her content, because first she was just doing all this mansion, big houses, and blah blah. People weren't connecting. Then it turns out her and her husband, they're both realtors. They have this this beautiful ranch like home in Paris that sits on 2 acres. So then all of a sudden she took a class. She says she started implementing it. She says, okay, I got to be me. So she's like, I don't know if you guys know about this about me, but I live in a ranch like property. We have chickens, we have this, we have goats. So she walked around her property. All of a sudden, her leads just started flowing. People were like, I want that. And so then she started now connecting people, and she's putting like getting listings, not even just in her area, but out of the area, because people are like, hey, that's what I want, and I think I'm ready for it. Can you tell me what my home is worth, and what can I replace it with? So her business turned around, but just basically being her. So being herself. Like Alfred right now, be like, like the realtor dad. Alfred, before having, I call him Gallito Jr., his baby. He was a girl's dad. He could have been, girl's dad realtor. He could have just marketed that for a while. And then like, oh well, now I have a son. I'm not just a girl dad anymore. Well, guess what? That's turning out. Turn the page into the new chapter, and now start promoting yourself. Like like I finally got my board. What life is like. Having a son now, and so this is the way I would connect. I would connect with Alfred like that, because I have a daughter and I have a son, and I was very involved in their life. So me seeing videos about Alfred, spending putting a couple of stories about his family, I will connect with Alfred just based on that. I don't just always want to see Alfred like buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. You just become another salesperson. Have people connect with you with who you really are.
Hey, it's funny you say that, Arlen. We had that talked about Pablo.
Yeah.
His Frenchie, his dog.
And why do you know about Pablo? Because you've seen the videos when I walk him. I'll post pictures about him, and you even remember his name.
And not only that, I think I told you guys about the realtor up there in the Rose Bowl. My good friend Jason from Compass Group. Now, this guy is consistent. What he does, here's a nugget. What he does, he goes to the Rose Bowl every morning at 6 a.m. He set us up table with his marketing. He puts all the listings that are in Pasadena, Arcadia, in that area, which are overall over 1 million. And he has water bottles with his name on it. He has doggy snacks, and he has snacks for the runners. Plus, in front, this is what's gonna gravitate people to his table. He puts up dog water bowls. Now, right now it's summertime. Dogs get thirsty. The pavement is hot. He puts all these water bowls, so when the owners are walking their dogs, the dog automatically walks to the water bowl, and then the people connect with him in the real estate side, but he's attracting them with water bowls and dog snacks for dogs so that the dogs stay dehydrated at the Rose Bowl. And Arlen and I lived before by the Rose Bowl. There's hundreds and maybe thousands that go there every single day, right, Arlen?
Yeah, and these are usuals too.
These are joggers, runners, golfers. I mean, and not only that, guys, the Rose Bowl, they have so many events in that venue. There's always people at the Rose Bowl. That's where I learned how to drive a car in the parking lot. That's where I learned how to drive a motorcycle in that parking lot. So there's always somebody at the Rose Bowl. So there's trails around us. There's trails, hiking trails. There's trails everywhere we're at. Think about this. If you were to go set up a table right now at a trail where people are doing stairs or all that, and all you do is put a simple table, you buy a cheap case of waters from Target, 32 bottles for $4. You buy 2 of those cases a day. That's a probably $8 investment. You go set up early at a hiking trail, and you put water market bibs. They have all this stuff they sell on realestate.com, or a sticker that you could put your business card. And all you do is pass off free water bottles to hikers and people that are already going there. You don't think you're going to stand out and they're going to call you, or they're going to think about something, or it's going to have a conversation about a real estate agent being super cool, giving away water bottles at a hiking trail right now? Think about that for a little bit. That is a marketing tool right there, a marketing trick. Now, I don't know who's going to do it. I wish I had a little bit more time to test it out, but I see there other people doing it.
You know, you have the Claremont Loop close by, right, Alfred?
Yeah, the thing with right now, Claremont Loop, just so you guys know, I talked to Felix. We used to go there every Thursday. Right now, they're having a huge rattlesnake problem. They open it and close it. If it's a fire, they close it. If it's a rainy day, they close it. So we don't know, even if we plan out for it, we don't know if they're going to open it or close Claremont Loop. So I'm probably going to look for somewhere else where I believe above baseline there's a trail where a trail that runs, like it's just a running trail, and check it out where people are going to hike or people are going to do yoga. But Claremont Loop is a great area. I mean, I used to have a hiking club called the LA Hikers at Griffith Observatory. I used to do a mastermind hike, and we used to be 10 of us, and we used to go hiking up the trail. Or Etowanda Falls, like Alex says, Etowanda Falls. I haven't been there yet, but those are things that you guys can do for free, and it doesn't cost you anything. All it's doing is costing you a little bit of time and maybe $10 on water bottles. 2 cases of water bottles that you can go get right now at La Cura. Where else? You could go get it at Target. You could go get it anywhere else. What is it? These Mexican...
Were you just gonna say La Curacao?
I was about to say La Curacao and shit. I was thinking of, you know what it is, Arlen? We had this guy come and talk about furniture at Matthews Brothers. Yes. And but hey, those are little nuggets. I did record this call today because I knew Arlen was gonna drop some nuggets. I knew Robert was gonna drop some nuggets. And once again, guys, we're all going through this storm together. You gotta just ask questions right now to speed up the process to get your next deal. Yeah. But it's only going to happen when you show up to communities like this. Sometimes we got 10 people. Sometimes we got 20. Sometimes we have 40. Today we had almost 19 people today. And hey, there people that want this are going to show up. People that don't want this are not going to show up. And that's okay. You got to do what's you. Like I told you, you are a business. When do you open? When do you close? What are your features, advantages, and benefits of working with you? And you need to know that, because right now, like Arlen said, the market's going to have a little shift. You got to be ready. You got to be prepared. So when it happens, if it's a buyer's market, a seller's market, whatever market it is, you adapt to that and you're ready to go. You know, and one thing that I just learned is, you know what, Arlen, you're right. Maybe I should be posting about my little gallito, and I'm going to do that more. And not only that, I'm going to post of a community where I live at. I haven't done that because sometimes I get caught up on being too salesy. Let me be the first one to tell you. I do. I do become too salesy, and I have to think about that stuff sometimes. I could tell the people the struggle, how it took me 6 years to get to where I am right now, driving 4 hours a day from Santa Clarita to the Inland Empire for 6 years without complaining. And during those 6 years, I can tell you a lot of stories, accidents, fires, trucks literally falling from the 214 freeway on the 5 freeway when I was driving home, the day that COVID crashed. I can make so many stories that day that the helicopter crashed. I worked a late night shift that day, and it was real foggy that day. And I remember driving home because we had the Academy Awards, and we had to get the room ready. And then I went to sleep, and when I woke up, I started hearing Kobe died, Kobe died. And once I heard it on Ryan Seacrest, I knew, like, holy shit. So, guys, there's a lot of stuff going on right now. You got to be the CNN of your life, of your business. Don't let CNN dictate your business or anything that's going on around you. But before we end this call, because I like to respect everybody's time, it's open mic. However you guys want to close it, share any nuggets you got, go for it.
I'll just say this, guys. You know, be the source. Be the source of information for your clients. Don't let them go, because I'll guarantee you, if you just take 5 of your past clients and look at their profiles, they probably follow other realtors. And they follow other realtors because a realtor probably is a friend of yours and saw them and sent a friend's request and they accepted. You know, so they be the source. Be the source, because don't ever think like, oh, they're loyal to me. They're gonna be loyal to whoever brings them a deal. They're gonna be loyal to whoever gets in front of them consistently. You know, this is, someone flirting with your wife or your husband. You know, just because they're your husband or your wife doesn't mean it's a done deal, right? You got to keep watering that plant. You got to consistently, stay in that relationship. So with your clients, that's what you got to be. You got to be the source for them and the people that they know.